We went to see Michael Moore's Fahrenheit 11/9, and judging from the preview, you would think it's basically going to be a Trump bashing movie, which for the most part it is.
But they
But
don't focus too much on Trump, like as
yeah,
much as you would think that they would. Though, yeah, they start off talking about the night of the election and how everybody was doing and how they thought that, Clinton would win.
yeah, and credit to Moore for showing all that. Everyone's saying that. Well, not everyone, but for the most part, 95% of the people were saying that Hillary Clinton got this in the bag.
Yep.
And then as and he was even saying that Fox News was, we're like, oof, we have to defend this guy. Oof. But then as the election, and we all know the story, as the election went on, everyone was like, oh shit, Donald Trump might actually win this. And then he wins this.
And then everyone's like, oh my god, now what?
Yeah.
The most ridiculous part, I think, was all the Russian music in the background, And then he was like, of course it was Russia. But it was actually, well, I guess I don't want to spoil it, but
Yeah, he
said it was Gwen Stefani.
oh yeah, that was kind of I didn't even think about that. Yeah, Gwen Stefani, because she was getting paid more than Donald Trump. So Donald Trump's like, you know what? I'm going to show her, and I'm going to do my fake presidential candidacy announcement. And then, he got big crowds, and so Michael Moore was with his narration was saying, well, I think maybe Donald Trump was like, maybe I should.
Maybe I should actually run.
Yeah. Then he kind of goes into some big issues that happened along the way.
Like within the last 10 years or so.
Yeah.
Right?
The main focus of it is actually the crisis in Flint, Michigan.
Yeah, which was pretty eye-opening. I didn't know, I know, media didn't cover everything and all the actual... excuse you. I didn't know a lot about the Flint water crisis. They kept saying that it was okay, they would report like, oh, it's fixed now, and then you'd hear later that it's not fixed. So Michael Moore kind of went over what actually happened there and how crazy it actually was. So that part I thought was pretty good.
As of right now, I don't really hear anything about it anymore. Like, it's kind of just been shoved to the back burner or whatever. Like, nobody really talks about it anymore. Unless you're in Flint, Michigan, I'm sure, But other than that, the press doesn't talk about it because all they talk about now is Donald Trump and Russian collusion and, it's all the bullshit. So
yeah, and he kept equating things. Like, one of the things that he said was they used to use a public pipeline that went from Lake.
I think it was Huron. I think it was
Lake Huron.
A private pipe.
No, the governor wanted to change it to a private pipe. And while that was going on, they were going to use the water that was from...
Lake Huron.
No, the other part.
Oh, some other river.
Some polluted river in Flint. So, he's basically saying that privatizing it was the problem.
Mm-hmm.
But he keeps... I don't know, his whole thing was like, big government is capitalist and capitalist is evil, but then when we do it, socialism is good.
Right. If people that I like are in government, then it's okay. But if people I don't like is in government, then it's terrible. Which I guess is pretty much any political ideology.
Yeah. And he showed a lot of polarization on different issues throughout the country. And it kind of just made me feel more and more hopeless for the whole situation.
The biggest thing for me was when Michael Moore was talking about when Obama came to Flint, Michigan to kind of talk about the crisis, or that's what people thought was going to happen.
Yeah, they thought he was going to be like a hero.
Yeah, a lot of people were hopeful and excited that he was, coming to, have say it was going to be a state of emergency. We need to get
FEMA.
we need to get this done. We need to make sure all the water's good and all that. But when he actually did do his speech or whatever, he asked for a glass of water, and the crowd was visibly upset and pretty much turned their back on him. Like, I can't believe you're asking this. Like, you're doing this in front of us. Like, how dare you?
Yeah, and he basically pretended to take a sip of the water, and he was like, everything's good. Like, it's approved levels. So we don't need to do anything here.
Yeah, and he did it twice. He did it in another meeting, I guess.
It was like a press conference with the governor.
Yeah, and he did it again where he drank from a glass of water, basically saying that the water's fine. Like, before that, there were some of the people, the residents of Flint, were showing how the water was like brown and dark and didn't look good.
Yeah.
So very bad publicity for Obama doing that. And, you know, again, credit to Michael Moore for saying that, you know, criticizing Obama and his response to that, because you wouldn't think that he would do that, but
He did criticize him a lot. He talked about all the things he did in the Middle East with the drone strikes.
when the military was conducting practices or something
yeah.
there in Flint, I think it was during the Obama administration.
It was after Obama had visited.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they started conducting military training there.
Mm-hmm. And one of the residents that Michael Moore did conducted an interview with, she said that before Obama came to her city, he was my president, and when he left, he wasn't my president anymore. So that was really, really crazy.
And in that way, I think that this was a pretty good endorsement for, you know, anti-government stuff, which I don't think he intended, because he had a lot of clips talking about, like, women being elected, or, like, you know, the Democratic Party is trying to change to be more progressive and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think he was trying to say we need to change the government, but to me, maybe just because of the background that I have, like, maybe it's my own bias, it just became a more black pill to
Yeah.
me. Like, oh, well, I see how inefficient government is with this on both sides, so...
I think even the most diehard pro-Trump supporters would find something of value in this documentary, you know, especially with all the Obama stuff. I mean, they're not going to watch. I know that a pro-Trump person is going to watch this, and the majority of it, they're going to want to pull their hair out. Like, I can't believe I'm, you know, this is terrible, but...
Especially, like, the gun control part.
Yeah, because March for Our Lives was also shown a lot in the movie.
Come here, crazy cat.
What do you think about the documentary? Oh, the light? Okay, cool.
You want to sit there? Sit down.
Well, he also talked about Bernie Sanders because he interviewed him, and how Bernie Sanders was basically fucked over by Hillary Clinton and the DNC. So that was a little part of it too, where, you know, Bernie Sanders, I think it was New Hampshire, I can't remember what state it was.
Vermont, I think.
Oh, it was yeah, I think it was Vermont. Yeah, anyway, one of the states where Hillary Clinton lost all the counties and Bernie Sanders won them all, but when it came to who was going to be the nominee for that particular state, when, you know, they were doing the DNC convention, Hillary Clinton they announced to her that she was going to win.
Well, someone had a sign while the person was announcing the nominee for that state. And the person with the sign was right behind that person. And you could see that it said Bernie won all the counties. So.
And a lot of Bernie supporters were very disappointed in Bernie Sanders when he said that I endorse Hillary Clinton. So again, they felt like he turned his back on them. So. And
I think that's why good portion of Bernie supporters became Trump supporters, because they wanted to stay anti-establishment.
Yeah. Well, that, or they just didn't vote because they felt like, well,
yeah, that too.
It's this whole, you know, it doesn't. I don't really know. I'm a Bernie Sanders supporter, but then he endorses Hillary Clinton. Like, how does that make me feel? It makes me feel terrible.
Yeah.
You know, like, you're going against her. She's about as establishment as you can get. And Bernie Sanders was running on this, you know, anti-establishment, you know, we need change type of thing. And then he endorses Hillary Clinton. So it's just like, oh, I guess you're just one of them now.
One thing that I personally got out of this film was that decentralization is probably the only way we're going to fix this problem in the United States. There's too many different opinions on very strong issues, where I think that if a lot of the, like, lawmaking or, like, decisions were brought back down to state levels, or some sort of unified of different states. Unified? I mean...
It's more of a argument for states to secede from the union and kind of just be...
That's what I mean, yeah. If states became their own countries, or were more separate from the federal level, then I think things would work out better, because people would move where they want to move, and they would stick with those policies, you know, and it wouldn't affect everyone.
It's kind of like that now, because you know, how California is.
Yeah, but then there's all these people trying to push things at the federal level, like people protesting in Washington for things to be like countrywide laws.
Right.
And people are so scared of Kavanaugh right now. But like, if he didn't have that much power, right? I don't even know how much power he has, or if they're making a big deal out of this. But
Well, they're making it act like he can, you know, he himself can overturn Roe v. Wade.
yeah, I don't think that it's true. But I mean, if people think that Donald Trump and people in federal power have enough power to change their life drastically, then it's probably a good idea that we just decentralize everything, so that, because like when you're talking about local government, at least, then you can kind of have more of a voice. You're not making laws for people who it doesn't apply to, because the culture is even so different depending on where you live in the United States. And I think that's why a lot of smaller countries do really well. Different political systems work better in smaller areas because the culture is unified, so they agree on that system.
Right.
That's why in the United States we're having so many problems, I think.
So kind of like how Switzerland is more of a, like what's like an ANCAP, or more of a...
It's more of a libertarian-ish
Yeah.
government. And like Singapore is very authoritarian, but they all agree on those laws. Yeah,
Yes.
so like if the laws were made especially for those areas instead of like bigger areas, as in federal level, or even you can break it states up, you know, like New York City, and I'm pretty sure New York City and like the rest of New York State are drastically different.
That's why New York City has such a huge, like, I guess, blue population. But then you do see counties in New York where it's majority red, or whatever.
And that's how Pennsylvania is. Like when I used to live in Pennsylvania, it would be Philadelphia and parts of Pittsburgh would be all blue, and then the rest of the state would be red. But then the whole state would turn blue because of
the population.
Yeah. So I don't think he intended it that way. He just intended it as, we need to put the people who we agree with in power.
Basically.
But I think for other people, it could be a black pill.
I honestly think that even if you... And obviously there's going to be a lot of people who don't like Michael Moore, and that's fair. But I think even pro-Trump people should at least give it a try.
Yeah, if you can get past the Russian music part, then
Yeah.
you'll be fine.
Yeah, because like I said, he does go after Obama a little bit, so you'll definitely like that. All the pro-Trump people will definitely like that part, but
Yeah.
it was interesting and it was surprising, you know, and I liked it more than I thought I was going to. I thought I was going to hate it, but it was
Yeah, me
actually
too.
decent.
I thought it would be more like a comedy, you know, where I'm like, oh my god, this is so ridiculous that it's laughable.
Yeah.
But they actually brought up he actually brought up some good points.
Yeah. So sorry to disappoint some of you, and sorry to surprise some of you, but hey, whatever. That's, you know, that's just the way it is, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how that phrase would go.
That's just the
That's
way
just
it is.
the way it is, like the Celine Dion song.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So that's pretty much it. If you like this video, then go ahead and give it a like and share and subscribe to this channel. And also, if you want to see exclusive content, then
If you want to see the video that we're going to put out after this,
Right.
then donate to our Patreon.
yes, please. Thank you all for your support. We love you. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.